It's okay. It happens. This is boxing after all. It doesn't matter that you got knocked down. You can get him back in the next round.
We're here today to talk about a game in a genre I know nothing about. I'm completely confused.
Nope!
Pain. Anyway, we're here to talk about a sports game, which, to be exact, we're here to talk about Fight Night Champion.
Yes.
To which I'm just gonna go, What? What's the deal? What's the deal here?
Please ask me a question.
It's a boxing game, that much I know.
Yeah, it is.
And it is a popular series, of course.
It is.
So,
well,
what's new? What's up, Doc?
Well, actually, we should probably start with the story mode, because that is the very first thing that you put into before you even press start in the game. You go right into the role of this boxer named Andre Bishop, and you're actually partaking in an amateur tournament that, of course, you should probably win. But from there, Andre's promising future in boxing takes a turn for the worse, and he goes into prison. And in prison, he more or less gets into it with some skinheads who doesn't like that he's a better boxer than they are, so they break his hand and...
Nighty night, bitch.
And everything. And it's really dramatic in the sort of way that Rocky was dramatic when you watched it when it was first released.
But this is actually a Fight Night game.
It is, and I may sound like I'm mocking it, but I'm not, because it's actually really clever done. Not only is the story pretty good, but the way that they implement it into the gameplay is really, really cool. So for instance, Andre gets his hand broken by the skinheads, the previous skinheads, stomping on it. And that means that you have to learn to fight with only one hand and protect, defend with a broken hand and everything. And the game keeps throwing you like little challenges that is actually supported by the story. And meanwhile, it's actually learning to play the game in a proper way. And it actually works. And the story goes that, of course, Andre redeems himself in prison and actually packs on some muscle and goes out in the real boxing world, but actually starts boxing as a heavyweight, which of course is the most lucrative way of having a boxing career. And of course, you're going for the world championship, and there's corrupt promoters and everything in between.
He was on his way! The only way to the title is through me. Not if nobody can beat me. Oh, you think so?
And it's a really cool story, especially if you're an 80s child like me who grew up on Rocky and is still like seeing Rocky Balboa as one of the biggest, greatest film heroes ever.
But okay, so the storyline works, but it's a new chapter in a classic series. I've been around for a while now, and all I remember from Fight Night, the only part I played about Fight Night is the demo that was released around the same time as the 360 was released. But how they improved the gameplay? What's the improvement when it comes to the actual boxing part?
I liked the first game, but undeniably the first game had some problems, especially with the collision detection and physics and everything, and they fixed most of that in the sequel. In the sequel, the fights themselves felt much more like real proper boxing. And they have tried to do that in the third game as well, the newest game. The thing is, it doesn't work all the way. I should start out with saying that the analog control stick, where you actually control your punches on the right stick, has skipped the whole rolling parts. Before you had to like do a rolling motion to do an uppercut. Now it's just direct, just a moves with the stick, and that makes for much more precise control and also much simpler control. The thing is, the balance of the fights themselves have been actually much more inspired by the way Andre started out in the amateur ranks, because in amateur ranks everything is scored on points. Points on how well you deliver your punches, how you set up your blockades and everything. And that goes through the whole game, which kind of stifles the creativity of the way you want to box in the game. For instance, a fighter like Mike Tyson, if you just go in there and rely on power, heavy punches, hooks, uppercuts, where you just maybe throw 10 to 20 to just land one, you will lose the fights on points if you don't have the luck to actually knock out your opponent. before the fight ends. And it kind of limits the game because beforehand you were actually more or less able to develop your own boxing style, and it really suited the game, which I really don't like about the new game.
But even with those problems during the fight, does the storyline kind of redeem it? Is it at the end of the day a solid boxing game?
Definitely, it definitely is, and it's a far better boxing game than everything not called Fight Night. I mean, the bar that the Fight Night series has set is just sky high, and everything boxing-wise, almost everything I should say, works in the game. Most importantly, the punches themselves just have the weight when you hit an opponent and everything. And the story mode, if you're into boxing, and you should be if you're buying this game, and you're into like dramatic underdogs rising up and really achieving their goals, well, exactly. This should definitely capture you.
All right. And just a final question for people like me. I have most of the stuff you talked about. I have no idea. I know what an uppercut is. Can you shoot fireballs?
No.
Man.
That's a knock. Let's see if Bishop can survive this. Did you see that? Oh, that got him. That wrecked him right there. He's down for the first time.
Stand up. 3. Get up.
Down but not out. Bishop gets up on his feet.
Right now, what